So you're looking to travel to Holland from the northern part of the UK by ferry. There are two options you can take. Which one is the best for you? You've got the Newcastle to Amsterdam route, or more specifically from North Shields to Emorden. I think that's how you pronounce it. Or you've got the other route further down the coast from Hull to Rotterdam. Decisions. Which one is the better option? Which one is the best for you? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you make up your mind. It's coming up. Welcome back, it's Eddie here from Tyneside Life. So a couple of months ago, I actually did the ferry route from Newcastle to Amsterdam, and by and large, I was really impressed. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the service was great, the staff were great, the whole journey was great, the food was spot on, and really I've got no complaints. It's operated by DFDS. Now, from that video, I've had a load of comments from some of you who have said, the Hull to Rotterdam ferry service is much better. They're operated by P&O, it's cheaper, the staff are better, the food is better. Well, I don't know. So that's why I'm going to try and find out. And today, or later on this evening, I'm going to be doing the Hull to Rotterdam route overnight and then coming straight back again. So the sharp-eyed amongst you might be wondering, what on earth am I doing outside York Minster? What am I doing in York? Well, travelling down from Newcastle, there are a couple of options. Travelling by train, I could go all the way to Hull and I change at York, and when I get to Hull, you need to get a transfer coach to the ferry terminal. I opted for the other way to do it. I got off at York, and there's a transfer coach leaves from York, Lehman Road, Memorial Gardens. It's a £13 each way service, and for one or two reasons, that's the option that I took. So in about an hour or so, I'll be jumping on the transfer bus to Hull ferry terminal. It takes about an hour and a half. So here we are on Lehman Road. If you're wondering where it is, it's about 200 metres from York railway station. 2 or 3 minute walk, and here we are right outside the Memorial Gardens, and the coach that's going to take me to the Hull ferry terminal is going to be parking just across the road here. It's due to leave at 4 o'clock. Like I said, it takes about an hour and a half to get there, and it's due to arrive here in about 20 minutes. So I better get myself comfortable and wait for the bus. Well, we're here at the port of Hull. It took nearly 2 hours actually, scheduled to be a 90-minute journey, but there was just a volume of traffic, and we set off 15 minutes early because I was the only one in the minibus. Acklam's Coach, as you call the company. Shout out to Raf, the driver, thank you very much. Nice chatting from Hull, Man United supporter. So I'm going to get in there now, check in. Now I've got two cameras. You might notice I've got one on my chest there. It's a secret one. That's going to film as I'm going through, and we'll get on the boat and see what the crack is. Hello there, you alright?
Hi. Yeah, not bad, are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Excellent.
She's great to be missed you. She literally was like the spur of the moment.
One of your VIP passengers with a spa room, I think it is.
Is that you, Mr. Earp? I've been waiting for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a masseur as well.
Yeah.
Did you just say Mr. Earp?
No, I said Mr. Who? Yeah. No.
With a Earp.
Make sure you clear your throat at the same time.
Yeah. So you're going to Rotterdam?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's your return and coach transfers to and from.
Great, thank you.
Cabin keys, boarding cards, meal vouchers inside your passport, and you have got the same cabin throughout your.
Oh, brilliant, thank you. Right, we are off. We're going to get a bus, I think, to put us on the ship. This is quite interesting, different from DFDS. So the buses took us into the belly of the boat. I think that's a technical term, and we are going to walk upstairs. Whereas with the Newcastle to Amsterdam ferry, obviously foot passengers go straight onto the upper decks. I'll see you up there. Hello there. Hello there. Sorry? No, it's not. No.
Not that one.
No.
Body cam.
So which room is it?
You're in cabin 10160, sir. This way, sir.
Okay.
It's on that side. You go straight, my colleague is there, he will tell you which side.
Okay, thank you. And here we are. Okay. Here we are. So when I got on board, of course, checked into my room on deck 10, and it's very similar to the DFDS basic cabin that I had on that boat as well. Very similar with the beds. There's like a bunk bed system here. Very small, obviously. There's a small desk where you can do some work, and a very small but basic and clean bathroom area. I haven't tried the shower yet. I'll try that a little bit later on, but very, very similar. And I've went and had a little bit of a look around. It's huge, this boat. It can be a bit disorientating. Most, if not all, of the action is going on decks 9 and 8. And there's just so many things to see and do, to hang around. Various types of bars. There's entertainment. There are games rooms. There's a casino. There's huge duty-free shops. There are massage chairs, cinema rooms. It's all going on. There's so much to see and do. And I went for my buffet dinner at the kitchen, which is the cheaper option compared to the brasserie. And even the kitchen option for the buffet dinner is £25 per person. In terms of presentation of the kitchen area, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as DFDS. There seemed to be something a bit posher, for want of a better word, seemed to be a bit of a better selection. Having said that, I'm not really bothered about the layout. The kitchen buffet here on P&O, absolutely spot on. Of course, I haven't tried everything, but the options that I kind of took from the buffet were absolutely beautiful. Go up as many times as you want, knock yourself out. Really impressed. And of course, like DFDS, there are an army of Filipino staff looking after you. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with the Filipino staff. I think they knock the Brits out of the park. They're just that type of people, generally. Good morning, everyone. It's 08:45 and we are docking spot on time. Lovely day today. Chilly, bit of a breeze. I had a reasonably good night's sleep. You do get that rumble of the engines, but I find that quite therapeutic. Sent me off to sleep. The sea was relatively calm. There was a little bit of rolling, but wasn't too bad. But yeah, overall, the cabin experience and my night's sleep was fairly good. And looking forward to a day in Rotterdam. Now you get slightly more time in Rotterdam than you do in Amsterdam. I think you get 4.5, 5 hours in Amsterdam. Here, you with the transfers and getting to Rotterdam and back, you get about 6 hours, I think it is. And I've booked this fantastic trip for 2 o'clock. It's a tour on an amphibian bus. So part of it's in the city, part of it is in the river. And I cannot wait for that. Well, that was relatively straightforward, getting through passport control, and what I love to see is organisation, and that's what we've got here this morning. Straight out of the ferry terminal and straight outside is the buses with the drivers waiting for you. There's a bus to Rotterdam where I'm going, and just behind it there's a bus to Amsterdam. Love it. It's probably leaving in the next 15 or 20 minutes. I think it's about half an hour or so into Rotterdam. So really impressed with the organisation so far. Well, we're here in Rotterdam, my first time here. So we left exactly 9:30. It took half an hour. It's just after 10 o'clock. So a slight correction. We've got about 7 hours here in Rotterdam. We get dropped off right outside their central station. Now, if you're planning to go to Amsterdam from where we're docked, that's an extra 45 minutes each way, an hour and a half, so you can take that off for 7 hours. You'd get about 5.5 hours in Amsterdam, which is half an hour to an hour longer than you would if you did the Newcastle to Amsterdam ferry trip. So it's just depending on your needs and requirements. That's the crack. That central station behind me, and right off the bat, because I've been to Holland a few times now, it smacks you right in the face. And that's the cycling culture, and it's just the same here. What I can see so far in Rotterdam, everybody seems to own a bike. There are bikes parked up in their thousands along the streets, and I love it. Old, young, men, women, different religions. They've got baskets on the front, babies on the back. They don't care. They're not afraid to get cold and wet. I love that cycling culture. I wish we could have that sort of mindset in the UK. But I tell you what, suggest to somebody in the UK or where I'm from in Tyneside to cycle into work, they'd probably give you a death stare and look at you like you've just asked them to swim across the Tyne. Found myself a lovely coffee. Got myself an absolutely delicious flat white, my favourite coffee. And a bit of a lemon pie. Didn't tell Warlass. Breakfast buffet this morning in the kitchen. I had about 7 o'clock. And I found most of the things you would like to see on a breakfast buffet. All the hot and cold selections, from pancakes to your full English breakfast, if you like, the cereals and yogurts and fruits. And I had a delicious breakfast, although I have to say my bacon seemed a bit burnt. It was a little bit difficult to cut through. One thing I think let it down a bit is that for the drinks, for coffee in particular, you had to go to the machine and stand in a little queue and press the button, blah blah. No big deal in itself, but with DFDS, the Newcastle to Amsterdam ferry, in their buffet breakfast, they had in the centre a couple of dozen of silver coffee flasks, and you just took one and took it to your table, so you just help yourself, which I really liked. So they didn't have that. I just thought the DFDS facility and their buffet dinners and breakfast just went that extra mile with the detail in the presentation, and probably a little bit more choice. But look, I'm nitpicking a little bit, because the breakfast I had this morning was delicious. I'd probably give the whole experience a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very good. I just think the DFDS is a little bit better. I would rate it as excellent and 5 stars. I love the fact that Holland has a healthy tram system, and I wish we had one. I think I've got transport envy. Well, here we are. I've been waiting for this. Cannot wait for this first ever amphibian coach tour around Rotterdam. £24 for an hour. I'm sure it's going to be one hell of an experience. But what I want to know is, does it have a coach driver or a captain?
Ladies and gents, once again, welcome here on board of Splash Tours. We're gonna make a tour about 1 hour to show you the most beautiful spots of our amazing city. We're just leaving the city center of Rotterdam, and within a good 50 minutes we arrived just across the river, and that's the place where we're gonna make the famous splash. Today we will take the ramp, because the looping was yesterday not a big success, so the ramp is the most easiest way. We're not gonna splash before I introduce you to the crew of today. Here next to me behind the steering wheel we have one of the most talented captains of River de Maas. His name is Siem. Siem is the driver of today, but also your captain within 50 minutes.
That answers that question. We've got a captain. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. Well, what a trip that was, and what a splash into the river. Thoroughly enjoyed that. From start to finish, learned a loads. Highly recommend you come on this tour if you come to Rotterdam. You're on the water for about half an hour. And quite a surreal experience sitting there on a coach as it turns into a boat. The coach is leaving in about an hour. I've had a good wander around Rotterdam. Of course, I haven't seen and done everything, but I've seen and walked around enough to get a flavour of the place. Given a choice between Amsterdam and Rotterdam, I would choose Amsterdam. I hope I haven't offended anybody here, but Rotterdam is a very interesting place. It's Holland's second biggest city, I think. There is a lot going on. It's busy, it's thriving. There's lots of cafes and bars and restaurants, high-end retail outlets as well, which is always a good sign. And down by the Euromast Tower, which is right next to where I got the splash bus, is a huge big park as well. So great area, loved it. Now let's talk about costs of this ferry trip. Now, off the bat, I think I have to say that the price I've paid for my particular trip will be probably absolutely meaningless to you watching this video. And to try and make a comparison, between the Hull to Rotterdam and the Newcastle to Amsterdam ferries is probably meaningless as well. The two ferry trips are completely different, and obviously they're operated by different companies, P&O and DFDS, and the Hull to Rotterdam trip is about a third of the journey less than Newcastle to Amsterdam. So Hull to Rotterdam is about 11 and a half or so, Newcastle to Amsterdam is about 15 and a half. So there's going to be price differences in that alone. And also there are lots of caveats and add-ons that will make your trip specific. It depends on the time of year you travel. It depends if you're taking a vehicle and what type of vehicle, how big your party is or your family. All sorts of different factors are going to be into consideration with the cost. So for me, in a standard double bunk, you don't have single rooms, so I'm paying in effect for two people in one room. If your partner Helen came along, there would probably be a slight increase in the cabin, only a slight increase. The requirements for me for this journey was the standard double cabin. I went for the transfer there and back from York train station to Hull, which was £12, I think, or £13 each way. I went for the 2 dinner buffets, which are £25 each. The breakfast buffets, which are £12 each. And all in for this particular trip, at this particular time of year, there were no discounts available. And bear in mind what I've just said, I'm a single person paying for a double cabin, so it was £372. In summary, if you are planning to go to Amsterdam, bearing in mind the longer shuttle service to Amsterdam from Rotterdam, I would probably go with the DFDS ferry from Newcastle to Amsterdam. If you are motivated by a better eating food experience, most definitely I would go with DFDS, Newcastle to Amsterdam. It is better in my opinion. But if you're motivated more for the entertainment facilities on board and shopping, etc., I would definitely go for P&O behind me. We travelled on the Pride of Rotterdam on this one, but it has a sister boat, the Pride of Hull. So the entertainment, I think, is far better on P&O here. Staff, much of a muchness. They both use Philippine staff, and people from those Far Eastern countries are always excellent at hospitality, so it's much of a muchness in that respect. So taking all that into consideration, which is best for you, probably the one that's closer. But I hope you found the video useful. Let me know about your experiences on either. How would you compare them? Of course, price as well. I can't think of any conceivable way to make an accurate comparison with price, as I discussed earlier on, because there are so many considerations and factors and personal things that you want to have for your particular trip. So you can't compare really, I don't think. Anywho, hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. If you want to know more about the Newcastle to Amsterdam video, make sure you check that video out.